The topic for today is Quad or Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, including members such as USA, India, Japan, and Australia. According to me, the slides are sufficient and you can take screenshots. Here, for reference, you can see a Quad meeting taking place. We begin with the beginning. Some of you would remember that in the year 2004, a tsunami had come in Indian Ocean causing immense destruction. At that time, a tsunami core group was set up. Officials from the four countries coordinated the response to the 2004 tsunami under the auspices of this group. US officials had said that these countries were the ones with the resources and the desire to act effectively and quickly. By this, they meant liberal and economically thriving democracies, so underlying that, shared values were there. Multiple countries saw the group as a model for ad hoc collaboration, but quadrilateral engagement itself paused after it was disbanded. But there was some talk in Washington about working for a democratic forum like this. In 2006, Japanese Prime Ministerial candidate Shinzo Abe expressed his intentions for closer ties with Australia and India, and Abe also won the elections. Now, if we go back to 2002, Japan, Australia, and USA had already in this year started a trilateral strategic dialogue. In 2007, Prime Minister John Howard of Australia visited Tokyo. He and Abe highlighted the four countries' shared democratic values. Lots of other bilateral visits and meetings happened soon between these four. In May 2007, the first and only exploratory quadrilateral meeting took place, and this was on the sidelines of the ASEAN Regional Forum Summit, also known as the ARF. This forum won't be discussed in this video, obviously, so let's move on. The Australians, they described the gathering as an informal meeting to look at issues of common interest like disaster relief involving countries that shared some values and growing cooperation in the Asia Pacific. And what else? There was no formal agenda and no decision about a subsequent meeting. However, there was an expectation that the countries would meet again. And then, so it was all exploratory. Let's see where it goes, how it pans out kind of attitude was there. So then what happened after this? There was development of the forum, right? So post beginning, we would look at what transpired soon after. So the meeting might have been exploratory, but the observers, who are they? The analysts, the strategists, scholars of international relations, etc. So these guys thought it was or could be much more. And legislators in all countries asked questions and details about this four corner dialogue. Advocates and antagonists, supporters and opposers, that is, both suggested it was an Asian NATO to constrain China, means it wants to militarily contain China. So Beijing obviously gave a reaction. An extremely negative one, and it reflected the idea's significance and in fact enhanced the attention the Quad received. Otherwise, if Beijing had not reacted, perhaps it would not have had so much attention. But since Beijing objected to it, the eyes of all analysts who write for various think tanks or academic journals, etc., they all started focusing on this forum. So, what did China do? It officially protested, asking each of the participants about its objective. When Chinese President Hu Jintao brought it up with Singh, the Indian Prime Minister told him, The group wasn't ganging up on China but simply meeting to exchange views on development from our experiences as democracies. The Indian officials reiterated that the Quad was not about containment or forming an alliance, but rather exchanging views, and it was reflecting a balancing approach to foreign policy. Now you can see the words like democracy is balancing. Beijing will hold against itself. Why? Because Beijing is not a democracy, is a huge power which is emphasizing itself in the world. And who would these four countries like to balance? So clearly Beijing was unamused. When Abe visited India soon after, he didn't explicitly mention it, but told the Indian Parliament the confluence of the two seas is coming into being. He spoke of a broader Asia that would also incorporate Australia and the United States. Then the American presidential candidate Senator John McCain wrote that he would institutionalize the Quad if he was elected. In the same year, that is 2007, we are talking about 2007, an expanded version of the annual US India Malabar exercise with the participation of Singapore happened. In this year, two editions of Malabar were held, bilateral in April off the coast of Okinawa, which brought Japan in for the first time. It's also called Trilateral X, and the multilateral one in the Bay of Bengal in September. This expanded exercise was the last visible sign of the Quad, okay? The expanded exercise of Malabar, that is. Now, let's quickly look at the issues involved in Quad. Why did Quad had to be set up? What are the reasons? So, number one, we can say that Quad will operate with the aim of shaping global order in an age of transition from the US unipolar world to one in which China is seeking a decisive role. So, clearly, China is a huge factor. Second, a rules based order will prevail in the Indo Pacific region rather than a coercion based one. Who is causing the coercion? China. Which is the region of focus in Quad? Indo Pacific. Although there are no hard boundaries and focus can go beyond it, but for now it is this region only, the Indo Pacific. Okay. Third is ensuring greater security and prosperity in a free and open Indo Pacific region. That is, there was a stress on the inclusive nature of the region. Who was being exclusive here? It was again Beijing. Fourth, clearly because Beijing was involved, all these states were democracies. They were trying to counter Beijing, an authoritarian country. Now, last point or issue would be sustainability of the investments or projects undertaken. They should be environmentally viable or economically viable. Why this? Because in the narrative opposed to Beijing, its investments abroad are looked at with suspicion. It is argued or believed that China tries to usurp the economies where it invests and it puts its capital in unviable and environmentally destructive projects. Okay. But what happened was that Quad was aborted, dismantled, any such word you can use for it. Why did something like this happen? The reason being China. Signs of hesitation were publicly evident soon after the meeting. Australian Defence Minister Brendan Nelson visited China. He reassured China that so called quadrilateral dialogue with India is not something that Australia is pursuing. Subsequently, in India, he reiterated that Australia doesn't want to do anything unnecessarily that upsets any other country. Any other country is China. He said Australia was interested in quadrilateral engagement but only on peacekeeping and economic issues. Moreover, Canberra did not want to distract from or duplicate existing trilateral or multilateral arrangements, which were many. So, Canberra or Australia, Canberra is its capital, had lots of issues. Okay. Another major reason was the democratic process. They came together because they were democracies, but that also became a reason for their parting. Now, the key driver of the Quad, the Japanese PM Abe, resigned in September 2007. In India, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had to face protests against the maritime exercise, particularly from the communist parties that were providing his government with outside support at that time. These parties were also objecting to the US India nuclear deal, a much higher priority for both countries. Furthermore, India was particularly sensitive to China's reaction at that time, given its desire for a nuclear suppliers group waiver, which also needed the yes of China for the waiver, that is. Then in November, quadrilateral critique, Kevin Rudd became Prime Minister in Australia. American officials, for their part, had never been as keen about the initiative because of China related concerns and the potential effect on the trilateral strategic dialogue. Which one is this? The one which had started in 2002. We discussed it in the beginning. Now, what else happened? In January 2008, ahead of a visit to China, Singh noted that the initiative never got going. The concept was already on life support when Australia officially killed it and reportedly unilaterally. How and what did it do? At a joint press conference with his Chinese counterpart in February, Foreign Minister Stephen Smith of Australia asserted that the May meeting had been a one-off and Australia would not be proposing to have a dialogue of that nature in the future. Since it fell apart, analysts have perhaps spent more time discussing it than the officials did in implementing it. It has variously been described as a US led project, an alliance, an axis of democracies, a security diamond, or a way to contain China. But a twist has come now. After more than 10 years, the Quad has again seen a resurgence, a return on the strategic fold of the Indo Pacific. In the last few months, the idea of the Quad has returned in official circles and in the opinion pages as well. In November 2020, the navies of Australia, India, Japan, and the United States had their biggest naval drills, sending warships, submarines, and aircraft to the Indian Ocean in a move analysts said signaled the four countries' seriousness in countering China's military and political influence in the Indo Pacific region. Again, what are the reasons behind resurgence then? So, earlier in 2007, former Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating had said China would be a considerate power. However, uneasiness about the rise of China and the security threats it poses to the international order have amplified in a decade. In all four countries, specific issues with respect to China have appeared. In Australia, Chinese influence in politics and universities, trade sanctions, for instance, Beijing slapped trade sanctions on Australia after Canberra backed an inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus. It suspended some beef imports on a technicality, that is, China, and effectively blocked barley imports by imposing huge tariffs on the Australian grain. Australian traders are in fact expecting more sanctions on exports of Australian wine, timber, and lobsters. In India, what has happened? Face offs at the border, we all know of this. The effect of One Belt, One Road and the China Pakistan Economic Corridor, China blocking its nuclear suppliers group membership, all these things. Then in Japan, dispute over the Senkaku Islands and the targeting of Japanese companies. And in the United States, economic espionage allegedly sponsored by Chinese government, disputes over trade, the coronavirus pandemic, and Beijing's crackdowns in Xinjiang and Hong Kong. All these issues have irked USA. Remember, coronavirus pandemic did garner an enormous amount of negative reaction and hate for China all over the world. We have read about this, we know this, right? So what else is there? There's a sense That while Beijing has expected reassurance and wants others to respect its sensitivities and aspirations, it hasn't returned the favor. And economic ties with China that some expected would alleviate friction have actually added to the problems. Another point is that the four states always cooperate a lot. It's been 10 years, the cooperation between them has expanded a lot, and so why not also re establish the Quad? They The four states are active in each other's backyard anyway. For instance, India is active in Southeast Asia and Japan in Indian Ocean, and their presence in this broad region of India Pacific or Indo Pacific is sort of given. Then, lastly, like I just said, another reason is the pandemic and negative capital for Beijing. So, then how has the resurgence worked out? How has it panned out? Let's take a look. All the participating states have shown some degree of reluctance. India is concerned about China's response. It is not sure about Australia's strategic posture vis-a-vis China and has doubts about utility of Quad. As with all these states, it has trilaterals already in place. So what purpose can Quad serve when so many meeting points are already there? India is not sure. The grouping has met once after its rebirth. One summit has happened, that is, a digital one, its first ever virtual summit level meeting, and it happened this year, that is in 2021. The joint summit of the meeting called for the spirit of the Quad and commitment to an open Indo Pacific free from coercion. We already know this is the focus, right? Spirit again is openness, transparency, democracy, the values dear to Quad members. There is no direct reference to China or even military security in its first ever joint statement. Okay, surprising, but these things take time to be outrightly aggressive, and diplomatic language always is held back. Maybe if China is doing something really bad in times to come, it would be clearly called out. So, what did the summit rather focus on? Number one, vaccine production. Number two, facilitating cooperation over emerging technologies. And number three, mitigating climate change. Now, this is said to be this focus on these things that is a new narrative for the Quad. So, these three things, these three functions are very important. It is being said that the member countries have taken a decision, a collective decision to pool their resources, that is, American technology, Japanese finances, Indian production capacities, and Australia's logistics capabilities to produce a billion doses of COVID 19 vaccine for distribution in the Indo Pacific. So, very relevant in these times, making poorer countries avail vaccines which cannot afford them. Further, the Quad countries agreed to ensure emissions reduction based on the Paris Accord, as well as cooperate on technology of supply chains, 5G networks, right? 5G networks have been very controversial with respect to China. We would do it some other time. And biotechnology then? So, the three main issues which have emerged out of the summit would help the four countries in developing a new narrative for the Quad, a new vision, a new personality. Okay, so analysts have explained that the threat posed by China is at one level military, as evidenced by its proactive pursuit of territorial claims in South Asia, South China Sea, and the East China Sea. We know in all these regions, whether maritime or land based, China is militarily active and becoming more active by the day. So the threat is military based, but not only that, it is also economic and technological based. How? China is a pivotal player in global supply chains. What are supply chains? These days, in order to manufacture a product, you can't just get all the raw materials in one country and produce it there because some countries have more of a raw material at cheaper rates. It is better to procure it from these countries. So, for instance, a pair of jeans would have cloth from some country, thread from some other, and stitching would be done in some other country so as to lessen costs. And China has excessive and cheap raw materials for some products which are really in demand today. Like it has rare earth minerals which are used in electronics. Okay, So it has also developed a huge quantity of COVID vaccines and is playing a major role as a vaccine supplier, which increases its clout at the cost of the Quad countries' influence. Then it is a major investor of surplus capital globally through the Belt and Road Initiative and a rapidly rising technological power, 5G and all. And it is this broader aspect of global order that the Quad aims to address, okay? Not just military, other arenas where China is making ground. Quad seeks to constrain China's that central position in the global system, and in the process it wants to develop a world order that is broad based and inclusive, because the democratic countries believe that China's authoritarian system, in combination with it exercising domination in these important critical fields, would mean it would ruthlessly decide the rules, hurting the interests of everyone and mainly the weaker countries. Continuing the same topic, how the resurgence has worked out. Like we discussed, analysts say that the Quad has also prioritized restructuring supply chains to wean them away from Chinese interference. With China leveraging vaccine diplomacy to a large number of recipient states, the four members have decided to test the Resilient Supply Chain Initiative. This is an initiative conceived by the India Australia Japan trilateral, and they would test it through vaccine production and with India as their production hub. So, all this to counter China. The third working group being set up is on climate change, an area in which China is cooperative player and not a competitor, and thus downplays the notion that the Quad is simply an instrument of containment. Okay, so together the three initiatives on vaccines, technology, and climate change are designed to create an environment that encourages China to be a positive player and persuades other states to shed their hesitancy towards the Quad. So some say Quad is a loose knit network of like minded partners aiming at a broader purpose, not just containing China, because it has climate change and all, right? What else is happening? The Group for Countering the Non Security Frontiers of Beijing's Influence has promoted Japan's Partnership for Quality Infrastructure, rechristened the Expanded Partnership for Quality Infrastructure, and introduced the multi stakeholder Blue Dot Network process. Both, as in the latter two, are intended to create a globally recognized evaluation and certification system for investments in sustainable development projects in the Indo Pacific region. So, like we discussed before, investments to be sustainable and viable, these initiatives would help in these objectives, certifying the projects, ascertaining their feasibility, impact, etc. Other analysts, they say that America is back in terms of global leadership and reaffirming regional alliances at the Quad resurgence shows. Because in the time of Trump, this had stopped happening. Quad is also broadening India's geopolitical horizons. For India, the new terms of the Quad will mean more strategic support after a tense year at the LAC with China. Line of actual control, it will also provide a boost for India's pharmaceutical prowess, opportunities for technological partnerships, and more avenues for regional cooperation on development projects and financing infrastructure. It is said that India's insistence on an inclusive approach in Quad was in keeping with the sentiments of many smaller countries in the region, which may not take an explicitly anti China position. And like we mentioned, India's manufacturing abilities in last slide, analysts believe this association could also pave the way for India to become the manufacturing destination for Quad countries, thus reducing dependence on China. Now, coming to the bottlenecks, hindrances in the path of Quad, it is said that the future of Quad cannot be guaranteed. Why? Because there is no consensus on its purpose, direction, or utility. We have repeated this before multiple times as well in this video, right? So, still we can elaborate. One is that the relations with China have become more solidified for all members. China is Australia's largest trading partner, and Japan's second biggest one. And Tokyo and Canberra have joined the China led Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership RCEP, a free trade deal that includes 13 other Asia Pacific nations and encompasses nearly a third of the world's population and its economic activity. Tokyo and Canberra's decision to sign on, analysts say, is indicative of their desire to do business with China even as they seek to deter its growing clout in the region. In this context, it would be difficult for these Quad members, that is Japan and Australia, to strategically align with the US and India. Okay. Then India's reservations are there. India, given its own ties with China, sensitivities over ongoing LAC disengagement talks, and its other multilateral commitments at the BRICS and SCO groupings, also displayed caution in the Quad engagement. Okay, we have discussed this before. Then again, we are repeating all states seek differing value from the Quad. There is just not enough shared strategic interest to accept risk on the military front. For instance, for the US, South China Sea and East China Sea are vital. Same goes for Japan, and for Australia, it also includes the Western Pacific. But for India, the Quad is about the Indian Ocean and South China Sea is a secondary theatre. So while India may be willing to help with capacity building, it's not going to actually take risks that might involve violence or escalation in the South China Sea. Okay, then what else? Such a push also risks estranging other countries in the region who are wary of escalating the competition for power in the region. Many small countries would be wary of power politics escalating in the neighborhood because the dangers can spill over, right? Then always there is criticism from China. Its state mouthpieces, newspapers all criticize the Quad's activities, such as you can look up Global Times, People's Daily, etc. Next is what, according to experts, is the way forward? What can be done for Quad to succeed? Firstly, substantive practical cooperation driven by function then form. Okay, start executing plans in properly chosen cooperation arenas. Basically, what Quad participants should emerge from each meeting with action items and a process for following up on them, or at least, unlike last time, an agreement on when to meet next. Where and when the next summit would be held should be decided at the end of the present summit, okay, or the summit which is continuing. Analysts also say that this time the countries will need to anticipate and prepare for Chinese pushback, as the Indian Foreign Ministry spokesperson alluded to recently. Beijing too participates in groupings that exclude some in the Quad but affect their interests. Okay, Beijing also works against their interests, so don't be scared. Each country will need to resist the urge to use the possibility of withdrawing as a leverage with China, with whom they all will and should continue to engage. So when China troubles you, don't say, don't do this, we can withdraw from Quad in return. Basically, be firm on continuing with Quad. Okay. Then the grouping can also help alleviate reliability concerns among participants by building trust and further habits of cooperation. This is clear, right? Then need for clear vision. The Quad nations need to better explain the Indo Pacific vision in an overarching framework with the objective of advancing everyone's economic and security interests. This will reassure the littoral states that the Quad will be a factor for the regional benefit and a far cry from Chinese allegations that it is some sort of a military alliance, so have a broader purpose and vision for Indo Pacific for other states as well who are not members, so China can't raise objections. Okay, then it should be expanded. For instance, India has many other partners in the Indo Pacific, therefore, it should pitch for countries like Indonesia, Singapore to be invited to join in the future. What else is needed? A maritime doctrine. Indo Pacific is a maritime sphere, so how and on what areas to cooperate should be underlined in a maritime doctrine. Okay, India should develop a comprehensive vision on the Indo Pacific, which would ideate on the current and future maritime challenges, consolidate its military and non-military tools, engage its strategic partners. Okay, India can do this to strengthen its maritime power. Then analysts in the end also advise China. They say recalibration is needed from China. China needs to take a restock of the situation. As the Quad summit has done well to shed the image of an anti China bias, it is up to China now to rethink its current aggressive policies and seek cooperation or cooperative relations with its Asian neighbors and the USA. Then, in this slide, we can also talk about some future functions which have been suggested for Quad. One is it could be a useful platform to share assessments of Chinese capabilities, intentions, and actions, and ways of dealing with them. Then, maritime security, humanitarian assistance, and disaster relief, energy security, and regional capacity building. Then, regional connectivity is another subject of shared interest, including developing more transparent, economically sustainable options than One Belt One Road provides. Another is cybersecurity. It has been a subject of bilateral discussions between the countries and could benefit from a wider discussion. Then there is counterterrorism as well. Quad could also discuss regional issues and cooperate in places where the countries have interests and are active, such as in Afghanistan or Southeast Asia. Political and economic vulnerability of open democratic systems and how to increase their resilience, for example, through more effective investment screening processes, can also be worked out at the platform of Quad. Then the ultimate goal obviously has to be to convince Beijing that if it wants to be a global leader, it will have to follow certain rules. None of the Quad members have enough weight to impose costs and convince China on their own, but maybe the Quad as a unit, working in collaboration with the Europeans on some specific issues, Southeast Asians on other issues, maybe that does have enough weight to convince Beijing that if it wants to play the global role it envisions for itself, then it will have to moderate its behavior. Now, what could be India's gains from Quad? We have discussed them, but let's quickly take a look at them again. One is for New Delhi, security dividend will be significant, though how much it can't be said. Ladakh crisis it managed on its own and is already benefiting from bilateral US arms transfers. The Quad perhaps will bring additional gains from sharing of intelligence and logistics and from the skills obtained through military exercises like Malabar, etc. Right? Then greater gains can be expected from the steady restructuring of regional and global trade and investment relationships, which will reduce India's dependence on China and bring in increased investment in manufacturing activity. Then India's status as a major power will be further enhanced through its expanded role in the making of a redesigned world order less susceptible to Chinese power and associated with more widely accepted values. Okay, so a revised democratic world order would help India. And India has the capacity to shape this revised global order in unprecedented ways. Then, lastly, there are other cooperative mechanisms. In the beginning of this video, we discussed that these four states were in habit of cooperation at various platforms because of their shared interests and values, right? So, what are these mechanisms? One is India US Dialogue on Asia, established in the year 2010. Then India Japan US Trilateral, 2011, and now at the ministerial level since 2015. Earlier, it was at the foreign secretary level, and when you enhance the level, then foreign ministers meet, and at summit level, heads of governments meet. Okay, so then Australia, India, Japan trilateral dialogue, which emerged in 2015. Then there is the regular inclusion of Japan in Malabar exercise since 2017. What else is there? OS-Index naval exercise took place in 2015 and the Special Forces exercise in 2016. Okay, Navy and then Special Forces. During Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's visit to India, the two countries announced a second OS-Index, another Special Forces exercise, and the start of an army exercise as well. Okay, significantly, the two countries agreed to start a 2+2 dialogue at the Defense and Foreign Secretaries level. So, at two levels. India has only had such dialogues with Japan at the same level, the secretary level, and now with the United States to be held at the ministerial level. Okay, 2+2 dialogue now it has with Australia, Japan, and United States, all Quad members. So engagement is very intense with them. Then some talk of a Quad Plus is there involving Canada, France. They are scheduled to join in a five-nation military exercise in April, and perhaps New Zealand and the United Kingdom as well. So, this elasticity of cooperation with other countries outside Quad, it denies China's claims that it is in an anti-China platform. With this, we have come to the end of the video. Hope it helped. Thank you very much.